Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today is the day the preloads for the Battlefield 6 open beta are now live. We also have some really good news when it comes to skill-based matchmaking, as well as we have some more good news when it comes to the early access form of the beta, meaning that if you weren't around for the reveal event, or if you aren't part of Battlefield Labs, you can still get into the early access portion of the beta on August 7th and August 8th, as compared to having to wait all the way until August 9th. In this video, we're going to be going over all of that, as well as, of course, touching on the controversy that happened yesterday, because it turns out skill-based matchmaking, I can't believe it, is a hot button issue and passions run super high around that topic, but still, there's a lot of misinformation being spread around. I honestly think it's just another reason why the system is so bad for gaming. It's so shrouded in mystery and nobody really seems to know exactly what's going on, especially when it comes to Battlefield 6, so I definitely want to clear the air when it comes to that and set the record straight, because I saw a lot of people really confused about what was going on, myself included. So first things first, how do we get into the Battlefield 6 open beta? Well, for starters, if you got an early access code either from Battlefield Labs or from Twitch drops back during the reveal event, you need to redeem it over on the EA website. Once that's done, you can then link whatever platform you plan to play the game on, in my case it's going to be Steam, to your EA account. If you play on Xbox or PlayStation or even the EA app, just make sure it's linked and you're going to be good to go. From there, you can preload the game on your platform of choice. Once again, I'm going with Steam, so all you have to do is search up Battlefield 6, you click on it, and then from there you can preload the game. The surprising part to me is it's only like 40 gigs or something like that. Like, despite all the content that's going to be available in the beta, it's only like 35 to 40 gigs depending on your platform. And I've also read somewhere that Battlefield 6 as a whole, like the full launch of the game, is only going to be around 80 gigabytes total if you want absolutely everything to be installed. And they're also going to be giving you options as to what you want to install. So for example, if you're just about the multiplayer and you're not interested in like the campaign, for example, you don't have to install the campaign, or vice versa. If you only want to play the campaign and just don't want to touch the multiplayer, you can do that as well, and it's going to save you a ton of hard drive space. Now, if you're somebody who does not have an early access code, you can still preload the game on your platform of choice. Again, it's going to be somewhere between 35 and 40 gigs, but having it installed means you're going to be ready to go on August 9th when the beta goes open for everybody. If you can't wait that long, however, all you have to do is on August 7th when the early access beta goes live, all you have to do reportedly is just watch 30 minutes of somebody playing the game on Twitch. You're going to get a drop. That drop will contain a code. You enter that code over on the EA website like I showed earlier, and then boom, you're ready to go, and you can play the game 2 days early. Next up here, let's talk about exactly what will be going on within the Battlefield 6 beta. Assuming fans get in early, the beta will be live for at least 8 days over the course of 2 weekends, so we're definitely going to be able to test out a lot of what the game has to offer. When it comes to weapons, we have 14 total primary guns, we have 1 pistol, and then of course things like launchers and gadgets and everything else, with more things coming with the full launch of the game. When it comes to game modes, they're going to be split up across both weekends. Weekend 1 will have Conquest, Breakthrough, Domination, and King of the Hill being played on 3 different maps, and then weekend 2 is going to have all the weekend 1 game modes and maps alongside an additional map along with Rush, Squad Deathmatch, and apparently even more game modes on top of that. In total, there are going to be 4 maps available across these different game modes, and keep in mind just how large these maps are going to be. The full launch of the game is going to have 9 maps, and then of course more coming after that, so during the beta we're only going to be able to experience less than half of the maps that the game is going to have to offer, which is actually pretty cool. Now, a few extra notes here. The game will run at 60 FPS on console and will have a performance mode to increase FPS even further, and when it comes to PC, there's going to be a myriad of options for you to customize your game and tune everything to your specific liking. This is what the menus look like, and here's some of the features that they offer. Mind you, you can boot up the open beta as soon as you have it downloaded. You just can't actually play it, but you can, however, get in there and get everything tuned and set up to your liking well before the beta even comes out, so I definitely recommend you guys do that. It's also worth mentioning that while you're watching Twitch to get access to the early portion of the beta, you will also be earning additional drops to unlock exclusive cosmetics within the game, and just like we learned before, the cosmetics are grounded, they're not too outlandish, but they are exclusive, and they will give you that extra bit of customization during the launch window of the game when everybody else is running around with default skins. So, alright, with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about skill-based matchmaking, because there was quite a lot of backlash on yesterday's video, so let's just get into it, man. So as always, when it comes to skill-based matchmaking, passions run incredibly freaking high, right? And opinions get thrown around like crazy. Yesterday's video covered the news that yes, skill will indeed be a factor when it comes to matchmaking within Battlefield 6, alongside other factors like ping, time to match, server fullness, and things like that. This ended up getting misconstrued by a lot of folks claiming that we don't know what we're talking about here. Skill's not a factor in matchmaking whatsoever, and skill's only a factor in team balancing. It's skill-based team balancing, and I tried my best to explain the difference between the two, but a lot of people just weren't buying it, whether they genuinely don't understand how games work or whether they have some sort of like tribalistic loyalty to Battlefield. I don't know, but they just refused to listen to reason when it came to this subject, and I think a lot of these people forget that we're on the same side and we're on the same freaking team here, man. Like, I'm not out here hoping for skill-based matchmaking. I'm not hoping for Battlefield to fail. I've said countless times, I want this game to succeed. I want Battlefield fans to be happy. I think a thriving Battlefield game is good, not just for the fans of Battlefield, but good for the games industry as a whole, and it's even good for Call of Duty fans, because the better Battlefield does, the better everything gets. It's really that simple, right? But that kept getting misconstrued somehow. The idea of matchmaking versus team balancing, right? They're very different. Matchmaking is how the game's systems get players into the match to begin with. Like, full stop, that's it. Matchmaking is how players enter the lobby in the first place, and skill will be a weight when it comes to getting fans into a lobby of Battlefield 6. That's it. That's confirmed. That was the news. That's what we covered in yesterday's video. The biggest question and the biggest concern for myself, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there, was how big of a weight is skill going to be, right? Because we didn't really learn that from the press release that we got. That was like the only information that we had, but thankfully we do now have some encouraging information to go over when it comes to that. It turns out things are going to be just a-okay, but getting back to it, team balancing, right? That is what happens after, and I want to stress that one more time, after matchmaking is finished and all the people are in the lobby. Like, team balancing has always been a thing within Battlefield and pretty much every online game in general. Without using skill to balance teams, things get all out of whack, and then you have blowout matches, and it's a bad thing for games in general. You need teams to be at least relatively balanced so everybody has a higher chance at a good experience, but that has nothing to do with matchmaking. Like, not even a little bit here. Matchmaking is how you get into the lobby. Team balancing happens after everybody is in the lobby, and I really just hope that clears things up for some people. Now, my question initially was, where did this all come from, right? Like, to see so many people upset with me felt a lot like shooting the messenger. Like, I've been doing this for over 14 years now, and all my videos have like a 98% like rate, and I tend to understand what I'm talking about, and folks seem to enjoy the content, but yesterday's video was the opposite, man. Yesterday's video flopped all the way down to like a 77% like rate, and I felt like I was missing something. Like, I've never seen, like, usually the comments in my videos, it's just all of us kind of agreeing with each other because we're all kind of on the same page when it comes to most things. We might disagree about some things here or there, but in general, we're all kind of on the same page, all kind of on the same team. But yesterday, that was not the case. Like, everyone seemed like really frustrated, and they kept passing around a bunch of misinformation, and just things were all so confusing and muddled. I felt like I was missing something. There were a few people that tried to help out and clarify, but mostly it was just a bunch of shouting. It was saying that it's team balancing. People were calling me an Activision shill, which just, yeah, okay, dude. And then everything else, right? So it turns out there was a reason why people all believed it was just team balancing, and it comes from a bunch of random places. We have a bunch of random Twitter accounts, we have some deleted Reddit threads, we even have an invite-only Discord server for Battlefield Labs, and that is where all the confusion came from. This information is not widely known. In fact, it's been taken down by the Battlefield subreddit moderators, it's been commented on by the Battlefield community manager trying to like cover the entire thing up. It's really freaking weird, right? So thanks to Tom Henderson, we now have a transcript of what happened, and spoiler alert, it's really good news. It's really freaking good news for Battlefield, and we're all gonna be happy. So it appears there was some discussion in the Battlefield Labs invite-only Discord about skill-based matchmaking within Battlefield 6. This happened all the way back in April. We don't have the full context of the conversation because it's been deleted and it's on a private Discord, but we do have David Serland, who is one of the lead producers of the game, weighing in on the subject. We have a transcript thanks to Tom Henderson and his website Insider Gaming, and in here we can see that David said, PSA, Battlefield 2042 has skill-based matchmaking according to this definition. This is what I tried to detail above yesterday. It has a factor of skill. It's used, but ping and time to game is the top priority, and in a 64-player game, our want is to spawn a server that starts as soon as possible, thus the skill factor is negligible in terms of sorting into servers. Also, with a party, that is more or less ignored. Just for clarity, saying skill-based matchmaking is bad is not really useful. What you really want to say is heavy skill-based matchmaking, where skill separation is a priority, is bad. So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, again, is really freaking encouraging news. Of course, things are always subject to change, but right there, we have one of the lead producers saying in a private Discord server that ping and time to game are their top priorities. Specifically in 32 on 32 modes, they want matches to start as fast as humanly possible. Skill won't be weighed nearly as much, and apparently if you're playing in a party, they don't even really weigh skill whatsoever. That's freaking awesome. Like, I really wish we would have just known that yesterday, because I could have included it in my video, but alas, there's no going back and changing the past. I will say though, I do find it interesting that he specifically mentioned the 32 on 32 game modes, because in my video, I even said it would be nearly impossible to have thick skill-based matchmaking in those game modes. I guess a lot of the folks commenting and disliking and all that didn't watch the video before flaming it, but the real question is, how will the system be implemented in these smaller modes like team deathmatch, domination, and squad deathmatch? That was my question in the video, though it was not specifically answered here. The next part of what David Serlin said is what kicked up all the controversy and the confusion yesterday. So here we can read, but that doesn't make skill as a factor in matchmaking bad wholesale. On the contrary, we need a skill value to make balanced teams, no matter the ranges of skills total on a server. It wouldn't be fun if all high skill players ended up on the same team, would it? Just to calm this thing down a tad, the fact a skill value is in the matchmaker, it's been there since we started being able to matchmake, by the way, doesn't mean we are going with a heavy-handed skill-based matchmaking solution. Quite the opposite. Battlefield is at its best when you play the all-out war modes with friends and different types of players. We do not want to limit that. All of this is also true, skill being important for team balancing, regardless of in which way you join the server. For reference, did you feel like the Battlefield Lab playtests were heavy-handed skill-based matchmaking? No? Then we good. It's the same matchmaker and settings we'll use, with tweaks if we find any issues, of course. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, we not only got some amazing news, but we also found out the source for why so many fans were confused about the idea of matchmaking and team balancing. They are very different things, but David's emphasis on the factor of skill when it comes to team balancing is what caused a lot of the confusion. It could have simply just been put as skill-based matchmaking will barely be a factor whatsoever, here's the source for that, but skill will play an important role in team balancing after the fact, and like, that's it, right? That's all they had to say, but instead there's such a tribalistic fervor surrounding this game that something as simple as news coverage can kick up so much misinformation and so much controversy. Everything I said in my video was true based on the information that we had, but of course having this deleted Reddit thread right here would have helped out quite a bit, but the fact that it was deleted and then a community manager came out and said, hey, this is not the time nor the place to talk about that, is kind of strange, right? They're being kind of weird about it, and I don't really understand why that is, because everything David Serlin said was awesome. Like, I'm incredibly freaking happy that the matchmaking will be nothing like what we see in Call of Duty. Like a lot of people, I still want a server browser, but I'm happy there's going to be an emphasis on fast queue times, full servers, and being able to play the game with friends and family. Like, just that fact alone, I can already see myself loving the hell out of Battlefield 6, let alone all the other amazing stuff that's been revealed so far. Like, everything about this game almost seems too good to be true. It's really freaking good. My only question is, if David said all this, and it's all obviously very, very good things, why was it deleted, and why is it so hard to find? Why are they being so secretive around this to the point where the mainstream media, and even like online media, places like myself, Charlie Intel, Modern Warzone, like the dudes who were actually at the reveal event, how come none of us knew about this stuff? Like, I get that Battlefield Labs is a really great thing, and it's going to make the game a lot better in the long run, like without question. But why all the secretive stuff? Why the deleted post? Why not just come out and make a public statement, because it's going to go over incredibly well? Like, I freaking promise you, everything David said should be plastered on a billboard in Times Square, because it's all positive stuff that is only going to further hype people up for the game, and I wish more people knew about it. I suppose I should have known about it. I'm usually pretty good about getting everything included into my videos, but I guess I missed the deleted Reddit thread from a private Discord server. Like, you guys see what I'm saying here? When I put it that way, you guys see where I'm coming from. But in all seriousness, I'm going to do my best to not miss stuff like this again, because obviously there's a lot of controversy, and the last thing I want is for you guys to be upset with me or feel like I'm trying to mislead you or spread misinformation. Obviously, that was not my intent. All we knew at the time was skill-based matchmaking was going to be a factor. Believe it or not, we discussed some of the pros of skill-based matchmaking, mostly the cons, and then we kind of speculated as to what might end up happening as a result of that. Like, how could they possibly have skill-based matchmaking in 32 on 32? I said in the video a couple of times, I don't think that's possible, but maybe in team deathmatch, like, I don't know what they would do there possibly, right? So without all the information available to us, it leads to a lot of confusion, which is the opposite of what they want while trying to promote their game. Like, everything so far about Battlefield 6 has been a positive. It's all just been one massive win. Why not come out publicly, like in a very public way, and let everybody know, set the record straight, and just full stop, like make sure everybody's aware of your intent when it comes to matchmaking. It would really be that simple, yet for some reason, again, we're going through deleted Reddit threads that are being commented on by community managers from a private invite-only Discord server. It's confusing, it's convoluted, but ultimately, it's really freaking good news, and I think we're all pretty happy with the final result. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. The Battlefield 6 open beta is coming. Fans can easily get 2 days early access to the beta via Twitch drops, and at least for the time being, it seems that skill-based matchmaking will barely be a factor in the game whatsoever, if it's even a factor at all. So Battlefield 6 is looking really freaking good, and I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to play this game. I talked about it in yesterday's video, but the last time I was this excited for a game was X-Defiant, and then the last time I was excited before then, I can't even tell you. Like, gaming has been really bad for a very long time. Like, we need Battlefield 6 to come out and just like start the healing here within the games industry, you know? And it really seems like the developers have taken all the feedback from 2042 and even the tangential feedback that they got from game like Black Ops 6 or even the more recent Call of Duty games, and they seem to just put all that together, and they've made an incredible game out of that feedback, right? So I will be streaming the beta over on Twitch once it goes live, so you guys can feel free to go over there and get your early access drops and your cosmetics from there. But for right now, I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Apologies for all the confusion on yesterday's video. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Be sure to sub if you're new around here. Thank you so much for listening, and once again for all of your continued support of my channel. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.